Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating document, a UX manifesto that's all about rethinking how software should work, especially for people who have a mission to accomplish.
Okay, let's start with something we've all felt. You're using a piece of software, and it just feels like it's working against you. You know the kind. It seems to create more work than it saves, it's loaded with endless tabs you never touch, and settings you just don't understand. It's just clunky.
Now imagine feeling that frustration when your actual job is tackling some of society's biggest challenges. For a nonprofit, every single minute you waste fighting a confusing interface is a minute you're not spending on that critical mission. The stakes are just so much higher.
So how do you fix this? Well, one company, BeMo, wrote a whole manifesto outlining their philosophy on it. And to really understand their approach, we're going to explore their 4 core principles and what it actually means to build a tool that acts less like software and more like a team.
All right, let's get into the first principle. This one really challenges the very foundation of how most software gets built. It's not about what looks cool in a presentation, it's about what actually moves the needle and gets real results.
This quote from a nonprofit leader, man, it just perfectly captures the core problem, doesn't it? Most software is just bloated with features that are totally misaligned with what the user actually needs to do. The real mission gets buried under a pile of menu options. BeMo's answer is to make the mission the ultimate filter for everything. It's not about chasing the latest design trend or what some competitor is doing. The only question that matters is, will this thing we're building concretely help the organization achieve its purpose? If the answer is no, it doesn't get built.
And this philosophy translates directly into how they work. It means they prioritize real outcomes over just looking impressive. It means they cut anything that doesn't serve the mission, even if it's a really cool idea. And so crucially, it means designing for the real-world constraints of teams that don't have a dedicated tech person on staff.
But to really stay focused on a mission, a tool has to be simple. It has to get out of the way. And this brings us right to the second principle, which tackles a really common myth in the tech world. We've all been taught this, right? We just assume that powerful software has to have a steep learning curve, that it has to have dozens of filters and settings and tutorials. We think more power equals more complexity. But what if that's just wrong? This principle is built on a super simple but really profound idea from the founder of Kodak from over a century ago. It's all about making incredible power feel completely effortless. The whole point isn't to make you a master of the tool's mechanics, it's to get the tool out of your way so you can focus on your vision. So, what's actually happening behind that simple button? Well, that's where the magic is. A single click can kick off an AI-powered grant search, draft a story for you, or create a social media post. All that heavy lifting is happening in the background, so you get the massive outcome without having to become some kind of systems administrator. And you know the most effortless way to interact with anything isn't a button, it's just talking. And that's what the third principle is all about. It suggests a pretty radical departure from the endless clicking and configuring we're also used to. Instead of clicking through menus and filling out forms, what if you could just ask for what you need? In plain English. This completely flips the script. It shifts the burden from you having to learn the software's language to the software having to understand yours.
And the difference is just so clear. The old way is a scavenger hunt through tabs and settings, and then you just hope you get it right. The new way, it's a simple request, a conversation. It's not just faster and more intuitive, it's designed for urgency, because these teams just don't have time to stop and decipher a complex interface.
But you know, for a conversation to be really helpful, you need to be talking to an expert. This final principle addresses one of the biggest challenges for small organizations, a lack of capacity. I mean, when your whole team can fit around a small coffee table, you can't be an expert in everything. So many of these vital organizations are powered by a team of one. Just one person, trying to be a grant writer, a comms lead, and a strategist all at the same time. It's a completely impossible task, and yet it's the day-to-day reality for countless teams out there. So the solution here is to build that expertise directly into the tool. It's like creating a virtual advisory team that's always on call. These aren't just features, they're embedded perspectives. You can ask the strategist for help with positioning your work, or have the grant writer turn your messy notes into a clean proposal. So when you take all 4 of these principles, mission first, press the button, talk, don't configure, and expertise on demand, and you combine them, what you get is something much, much more than just a piece of software.
Ultimately, when you put all these ideas together, you get a tool that deeply respects your time and trusts your expertise. It functions less like a machine you have to operate and more like a supportive teammate who's just there to help you do your best work, but faster.
And that leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, doesn't it? By designing for mission, for simplicity, for conversation, and for expertise, can technology finally become a true partner in our most important work? What could you accomplish if your tools didn't just help you work, but actually helped you think?